Okay. So, okay, in the United States, has always been segregation of so many kinds, but the one I would like to inform you today is about a pioneer who broke barriers against oppositions towards people of color in baseball. His name is Jackie Robinson, who in this classroom has experienced discrimination. Okay. So, well, I have, and I would like to share it with all of you. There was this scenario where I was walking towards the bus station, and I was walking behind a lady with her purse. So it happens to be that she turns around and she sees me and she speeds up and she switches that purse to her front of her body. And for a moment I was confused of what was going on. Everything happened so fast that I couldn't react. But after we went separate ways, I realized that she thought I wanted to steal her purse. The biography itself of Jackie Robinson is a symbolic and historical meaning not only to the history of the United States, but for African Americans as well. He broke the baseball color line when he debuted with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Jackie also revolutionized the movement of freedom and integrated developments in society. Here in this classroom, if you haven't experienced discrimination, oppression, or anything related, the last, at least once in your lifetime, you will. Not that I'm wishing it upon you. As I told you my experience of discrimination, I can tell you how I felt. At first, I was angry because I felt like if I was blamed for something I didn't do. But at the moment I realized that anywhere I go, just because of my looks, I was being categorized. At the time before Jackie Robinson successfully changed the face of baseball, Major League Baseball was segregated, and African Americans and whites played in separate leagues. The outcome deliberates a message of a huge step towards a better way to integrate races, genders, and culture into a sport not ever seen before. So, first and foremost, I want to explain the evolution of leagues of baseball and its boundaries and how it differed from the Negro League. In the website of icweb.gov, Breaking the Color Line, it emphasizes the history of baseball and boundaries towards blacks, and on NLBPA.com, which stands for Negro League Baseball Players Association, it enlarges of its establishment and development, as you can see the pictures. The National Association of Baseball Ball Players, the first organized league from 1871 to 1875, it established the initial barrier against blacks. After the first league was replaced, the National League, which is this one, and was founded in 1976. And later another league was formed in 1901, which was the American League. The existence of the color line in Major League was segregated for a half century, and it was reflected the racism of American society, which was based on the Jim Crow laws. The first successful organized Negro League was established in February 13, 1920. Through 1920 and to 1960, the key changing and forming different leagues. Although they formed their own league, they had the opportunity to play on the field only when the major league teams were playing away. In other words, they were secondary teams. Black baseball developed stars of indisputable talent as well as distinctive style of play. Now that we know how baseball started and its boundaries to separate blacks and whites, I will tell you more about baseball's great experiment. This is a quote from the book called Baseball's Great Experiment. It says, "The credit for banishing Jim Crow laws from baseball belonged to Branch Rickey," which is him. Branch Rickey and the strategy that he pursued must be judged overwhelmingly effective. Rickey was the only general manager in 1945 to have the courage and foresight to sign a black player, which was Jackie Robinson. Although several people in the Major League Baseball tried to end segregation in baseball, no one succeeded until Brooklyn Dodgers general manager Branch Rickey. Rickey emerged to inspire and influence and development in the broader society. Jackie Robinson in October October 23rd, 1945, he signed a contract to become the first black in organized baseball in the 20th century. In Jim Crow law, policies of baseball changed forever when Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson of the Negro Leagues, Kansas City Monarchs, agreed to a contract that would bring Robinson into the major leagues in 1947. Finally, I will inform you the essence of his legacy and accomplishments that led the way of generations to come of not only black athletes, but other races as well. Rickey and Robinson, to launch their great experiment remains unfulfilled. Their efforts had brought us closer to reality. The integration of baseball represented both a symbol of imminent social challenge and social change. Jackie Robinson captivated the imagination of millions of Americans who had previously ignored the nation's racial dilemma. On the ESPN article, it says, Robinson lit the torch and passed it on to several generations of African-American athletes. As we can acknowledge players in every team, we can see that they have integration of different races. As an example, Prince Fielder, Albert Pujols, David Ortiz, Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano, Cesar Sabathia, Alex Rodriguez, and so forth. So now that I have informed you of Jackie Robinson, a legend that created a foundation of prosperity among all races in baseball, perhaps I would like to conclude. Jackie changed the face. Jackie changed the face of sport that contributed significantly to the civil rights movement. As you can see, we have Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Marx. At the time, before Jackie Robinson successfully changed the face of baseball, the sport was segregated. The African Americans and whites played separate leagues. First, I talk about the color line, embracing baseball between blacks and whites. Secondly, I explained baseball's great experiment, which marked the beginning of integration in baseball. Thirdly, I informed the changes and impacts that Jackie Robinson brought to the game. Well, I hope I inform you of what this great pioneer created, and this is a quote that I believe he has a strong message. It says, "A life is not an impact except in the impact he has on other lives." Jackie Robinson.